I'm very intrigued about people, men and women, who have made very significant contributions, but have been to a large degree just overlooked by history. Tom Seeley is one of the people during the 20th century who was very influential in the University of Texas history and the progress that it made. But he's also one of these people that literally disappeared from public memory. So I saw this as a particular challenge to bring a full historical look and perspective on what Tom Seeley himself, what he contributed, and what his vision was for the university. He grew up in a small town west of Abilene, Coleman, Texas. He went to Texas A&M University during his freshman year. And after the first year, he transferred to the University of Texas. On some occasions, he would say, well, after all, I went to A&M for 1 year, but then I got a real education and moved to the University of Texas. So he had a good sense of humor. From his early life and as a young attorney, after World War II, he was assigned to the War Crimes Unit in Germany right at the end of the war. He was an instrumental figure in the prosecution and conviction of the Nazi war criminals who had made the worst and the most atrocious crimes really in world history, and was responsible for that. And I think it did a couple of things. One, it gave him this very valuable experience. He had to learn how to confront very, very serious and difficult challenges. There had never been a case in history or cases and trials like this in history. So this was literally starting from scratch. So he was very successful in that regard, and I think he brought that back with him when he came home to be a practicing attorney, but then really enter into public life in his being appointed to the chair of the Board of Regents of the University of Texas, and then to later appointments that he received from other governors. In 1956, the University of Texas football coach was Ed Price. And Ed Price had a very lackluster season, is a nice way of putting it. He lost to A&M, he lost to Oklahoma, and the UT fans were very unhappy with Mr. Price. Ed Price met in a private meeting with Tom Seeley at the end of the season after the A&M loss, and then announced that he was going to resign as football coach. At the same time, the athletic director, DX Bible, the legendary athletic director and coach from UT, also retired. So the ball ended up in the court of the Board of Regents and the administration to bring on the next AD and the next, more importantly at the time, the football coach to help revive the sagging fortunes. Darrel Royal at the time, he's from Oklahoma. He graduated from OU. He'd only been out of school about 7 years. He had coached in a few places, and he was at the University of Washington, but he was certainly not on anyone's radar. Seeley was very influential, and I think made the decision that the board agreed with to hire this young, untested coach. As it turns out, of course, Darrel Royal becomes legendary coach, has a winning record against OU, and Hall of Fame coach, and was truly widely admired and longtime friend of Tom Seeley from that point on. And from that time on and into the 60s and 70s, he also participated at many different levels in the state and with the university in helping advance higher education and opening it up to making it provide more opportunities to people who were attending and enhancing the research capabilities and really helping to build the university into a university of the first class. Tom Seeley was admired by people from all walks of life. He was admired and respected by people in spite of their political differences. He was one of those people. He was the calming voice. He was very measured about his response, yet at the same time, he was very approachable because people, especially on the political side of all these issues that were going on during his tenure on the Board of Regents, for example, he was one who could still see through all the smoke and rise above the fray to help develop a consensus and really a solid resolution for moving the university forward, because his goal is to make it a true university of the first class, but also make it a world-class university.